Hello, everybody. Welcome to Healthy Communication and Staying Connected while we're all social distancing. This is our third webinar in our Stay Healthy at Home series. And just to address this, if you would please type your questions, comments, and feedback in the questions box, I'll be able to hear your answers, see your questions, and answer anything that you might need to know. A little bit about me. I'm the Information Referral Coordinator for the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project. And the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project has been a division-funded program of the ARC of New Jersey since 1983. We support the state's network of self-advocates and self-advocacy groups. We also provide comprehensive training and resources to self-advocates, direct support professionals, and agency personnel. So today we're going to discuss healthy communication and how to keep up proper boundaries, how to stay active from your house, how to stay connected with others, and helpful resources throughout. Again, if you have any questions, just put them in the question box and I will answer them as we go. So what is healthy communication? We're all familiar with communication, but healthy communication insinuates a deeper communication. So in order to have healthy, open communication, you have to practice active listening and actually understand what the person is talking about. You have to be patient, talk with respect, say exactly what you mean, and explain how you feel. All of this can be hard when we're kind of stuck at home. Emotions are heightened, but it's important to still put effort into our relationships and be aware of not only our own emotions and feelings, but how we're treating others. So to be a better listener, we've got some tips for you and I'm going to go through them. So the first would be to clear your mind. You want to prepare yourself so you can focus 100% on what the other person is saying to you. So we're all human, we're all going through stuff, especially right now. It can be really hard to actually focus on what they're saying to us if we're worried about some own life, or if we're thinking about something, or if we're feeling a certain way. So in order to be an active listener, you have to make sure you're clearing everything out and paying attention so you can understand what they're saying. Obviously, we want to make sure we're not interrupting anybody. You want to let them get out their full thoughts or feelings before you speak. It can be a little hard if you have something you want to say and you don't want to forget it, but writing that down during the conversation is a good way to make sure you're still remembering what you want to say without interrupting their thought process. You want to use respectful body language. So making good eye contact, leaning forward helps you seem engaged more, keeping your body relaxed, and trying to avoid distracting behaviors. Things like fidgeting or even doing something else while they're talking to you. That can be common. We're doing something like playing on our phone, playing a video game, reading a book or something. It's hard to be a good active listener if we're not focusing on what they're saying. So you also want to make sure you're aware of how you're coming across. So if your arms are crossed or if you're not looking at them, it can seem like you're not interested in what they're saying. And then that can kind of force the other person to shut down and not want to have that open, honest communication with you. So even though you might not be feeling that, it could be what your body is displaying. So just be aware of your body language. You want to respond appropriately as well, which can be very hard, but you want to try to be patient and calm and respond and not react. We might not necessarily like what we're being told or what we're hearing, but we have to remember that the other person might be having a hard time getting out what they're trying to communicate. And if we're fast to judge or if we're fast to kind of react with our emotions, they might also shut down again or just stop talking to us. They might be reaching out to you for help or for guidance. And it's important to make sure you're practicing responding and not reacting. And I'm going to say that a lot because it is super important in healthy communication and active listening and actually having that emotional bond and relationship with someone. You want to use acknowledging responses, things like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Can you tell me more? You want to try to stay away from, okay, or even just K. Using encouraging responses will show that you're emotionally involved, that you're paying attention to what they're saying, and that it's important to you. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're unsure of what they mean or what they're actually talking about, asking questions can help clarify things. It will help you get the whole story and help you better understand what they're saying. It will also show that you are listening and you want to know more about what they're going through and what they're saying. And paraphrase back. This is also important. Just repeating back what they said or what you think they said can help solidify to the other person that you actually understand what they're saying. It can also identify if there's any area that needs to be clarified. And then be patient. And we're going to talk about patience because that is something that takes a lot of people a lifetime to quote unquote master. Um, like I said, we're all human. Patience is a very hard thing, and it's something that we need to work at. So here are some ways that you can practice more patience when it comes to open communication and strengthening that bond with someone else. So just slow down. Try to focus on what is being said by the other person. This is in any area. If you to feel yourself kind of getting consumed by something, just taking a minute, slowing down, focusing on something can help you be more patient and help you actually understand and process what is going on. You should also think before you speak because this helps you take your time to make sure you are being honest with what you're saying and not reacting out of emotion, and that you're actually meaning everything that you say. Taking deep breaths can also help you relax if you find yourself starting to get anxious or upset. It's one of the fastest ways to calm down. It's something that we teach in all of our stress management trainings. Taking deep breaths just signals to your brain that something is going on. You need to stop and focus. Focus on your breathing because we all know breathing is the most important part of our lives. We need that. And so when you start doing long, drawn out breaths out and taking deep breaths in, your body actually stops its process in its mind of what it's thinking about and just focuses on your breaths. Really helps you kind of relax and make sure, again, you're responding and not reacting out of emotion, which is super important in healthy communication. You should also create a timetable. So we all might be home, working from home or home more than we usually are, but that doesn't mean that we're just sitting around doing nothing, right? Like I said before, we all have a lot going on in our mind and in our lives. So carving out time for a conversation can help you avoid other distractions and actually help you focus better and listen better. So if you are working from home, you're still working, you still have a lot to do. And if someone wants to talk to you, especially about something important, it might be more beneficial if instead you schedule that talk in. Say, I'm doing this right now, but maybe we can talk in an hour, or we can talk when I'm done with this phone call, or as soon as we're done doing this meeting, we can talk to each other. That's going to be that's going to go a long way to making sure you can focus on what they're saying, and then making sure you are responding in an appropriate manner. The next tip is to count to 10, right? Just like deep breaths, this is one of the oldest ways to help yourself calm down and remember what you're trying to accomplish. So, just the simple act of taking a break, which is also on here, or counting to 10 can help you cool down if you are starting to set again or anxious about what you're talking about or what the other person is saying. Because again, super important, we want to remember that we're not reacting, we're responding. So, like I said before, also write down what you want to say. This could be beforehand, before you have a conversation. It can remember all the points you want to talk about without interrupting someone. So, if someone is speaking a lot about something that's important to them, you don't want to interrupt them. So just simply write down what you want to say or a question that you have. And then when they're done, you can address that. It's also probably best if you let them know that that's what you're doing, so they're not wondering what you're writing and getting distracted by that. So you want to be considerate as well. Always be considerate. It might take time to explain feelings, but you want to make sure you're giving everybody enough time to explain or express how they're feeling and what they want to say. You don't want to rush them. Make sure you're there for them. That is what they need. If they're coming to you to vent, if they're coming to you for guidance, or if they just want to talk about something that is wrong, it's important to them and it should be important to you. So be considerate, really try to practice these patience tips and to be an active listener and understand what they're saying. And a quote that I like is, if you are patient in one moment of anger, you'll escape 100 days of sorrow. And this just means that if we start reacting from our emotions instead of uh, taking the time to respond appropriately, it could cause a deeper rift than just our anger was in the moment. So words kind of hang out there. You can apologize for what you said and you can try to take back, but those feelings could have already been hurt and it could have caused more damage. So just take that moment to think before you speak, and make sure that you're giving everybody the time that they need, and you're also giving yourself the time that you need to respond appropriately. We're going to talk about how to talk respectfully. That is also a part of healthy communication. So the first one is to use respectful language. Obviously, we don't want to be rude or mean or use hurtful words or bully someone. Talking with respect doesn't mean that you can't say what you want to say. It just means you have to do it in a way that's not going to offend someone else. Again, responding and not reacting will go a long way to making sure you're saying exactly what you mean and you're being respectful. You also don't want to yell or raise your voice. You want to just talk in your normal speaking voice, which can be harder if you're starting to get emotional or stressed or anxious or frustrated. But think about all the times that you were yelled at. You kind of probably shut down or you didn't listen. It's really hard to listen to someone when they're yelling at you. So just remember that if you start to raise your voice or if you start to yell, they're not going to hear what you're saying anyway. You're bringing emotions into it when you should try to just listen, have an open mind, and be there for the other person. If you start to feel yourself getting upset or getting angry, practice those other tips we just talked about, taking a break or deep breathing or walking away, writing things down, that can help too. So do what you need to do to make sure you're having honest but open communication. And being honest, you want to try to make sure you're explaining exactly how you feel. It can be awkward, it can be really hard to tell someone something you maybe want to, something negative or something about how you feel, something raw and open and emotional. But healthy communication thrives on that. Honesty is one of the most important parts of healthy communication. If you're not being honest about how you feel, there's really no point in having that talk or having that communication with someone. You also want to make sure you're being specific, and this goes hand in hand with being honest. Just say exactly how you feel. Again, be respectful about it, but you need to make sure you're meaning everything that you say. You don't have to use examples about this, but talk about how you felt and how it affected you. And the next tip is actually really important. We're going to talk about this a lot too, is we're not trying to win arguments, we're trying to resolve conflicts. So this means you might have to compromise with someone so that you both quote unquote win. You're not going to get 100% of what you want. They're not going to get 100% of what they want, but you'll both get something. And this can help heal any rifts and move on through discussions. You want to, again, we're not trying to win an argument. We're trying to resolve a conflict and move on with our relationship with this person and communicate. At the end, it's okay to ask for a summary. This can help see if the other person actually understands what you're talking about, if they understand how you're feeling. It goes hand in hand, right, with asking questions, making sure you understand. So it's not at all a bad idea to ask for a summary. Again, they might need clarification. They might think they know what you're talking about, but asking for a summary might help you realize that there's still some areas that need explaining. And respond, don't react. Use your skills with patience to help you remain calm. And then use I statements. I statements express how we feel instead of being accusatory. So it also helps if our emotions are heightening. We can only control how we feel and not what other people say or do. Remember, we're not responding, or we're responding, we're not reacting. So instead of saying something like, you don't care about me, say, I was hurt by what you did, because that's all you can say. You can't say why someone did something else or what they did or how they feel. You can only have responsibility for you, your actions, and your feelings. So don't say, you never helped me. What you want to say is, I needed your help and you weren't there for me at that moment. Instead of saying, you're such a, with an insult, say more honestly, I'm hurt and I want you to be hurt too, because that's how we're feeling. Instead of saying, go away, say, I need some space right now, but I do want to work this out later. It's just a different way to say what you mean without making the other person shut down and being insulted, and having that honest, respectful communication. So we also want to make sure that we're not communicating when we're angry. So take the time that you need to resolve those feelings in yourself. And I statements can help with that. So things you'll want to do is, sometimes you just have to sit with your anger without speaking, and that can help kind of dissolve. Think about why you're angry in the first place. Why is this bothering you so much? Or you can try to get it out in a healthy way with a hobby or some physical exercise. Resist the urge to unload all of your grievances on someone else. When we're angry, that's something that we kind of almost instinctually do when we're mad or when we're upset. We take it out on someone. Whether they had something to do with it or not, no one deserves that. We're responsible for our own emotions and for how we handle them. And so we need to make sure that we're taking the steps to calm down and not communicate when we're angry. Focus on creating a solution. And if you need help with this, get help with that. Ask someone for advice, or maybe they can help you come up with a solution you're not thinking of. And try to learn from your anger. Try to change your behavior for the future to prevent the same argument from happening over and over again. Learn to prevent it by being honest and open with the other person. Sometimes just showing your raw emotion can help the other person really understand how you feel and why it's affecting you so much. And remember, the object is to resolve conflict or express our feelings. We're not trying to win an argument. So, in order to do this, try to pull the other person aside and talk privately with them. If the discussion is important and if it's private, it should be between you two. So it shouldn't be in the middle of a lunchroom or in the middle of your workplace or in the middle of a public place. Talk privately, pull that person aside, schedule time to talk about something if it's bothering you to, and work through that. Try to focus on the facts and try not to use hypothetical situations because that doesn't help anybody. Those aren't real situations. Try to only focus on what actually happened and how you are feeling. Use your I statements. Don't assume you know how they are feeling or what they are thinking. Be honest, be prepared, and tailor the message for that person. Everybody kind of hears differently and learns differently and listens differently. So talk in a way that the other person can understand. If someone doesn't understand something, repeating the same phrase over and over again isn't going to help them understand it any better. So try to explain it in a different way. You can use an example from something that happened that how you're feeling in the first place, or you can just try to ask them to say what they're hearing you say and work around that. And then also more importantly is make sure you're talking early. If something is wrong, then say something before it escalates, before you harbor these emotions, these negative emotions, and possibly resent this person for something that happened. They might not know they did something that bothered you. They might not know that it hurt you or upset you as much as it did. So say something early on. Don't let it fester. And we should always be respectful of the time and space of the people that we live with. We're all kind of around people more than we usually are, or we could be. And maybe we're living on top of each other. We don't have a large living space and you're always around them, but that doesn't mean that the boundaries should change. So there are some boundaries that you still need to keep in place, right? Privacy is huge. We might live with someone and we might be seeing more of them and we might be more comfortable around them, but everybody still needs that privacy. So you want to make sure you're knocking if a room has a closed or locked door. That's just a personal boundary that if the door is closed, that's a physical boundary. You want to make sure you're respecting someone's right to enter that space. And even though we're kind of feeling a little bit more comfortable with the people that we're living with, it's it's okay to need that alone time. Everybody needs some of that alone time. So make sure you're respecting their boundaries in that example. You also want to maximize your space. No matter what size space you're living in, utilize as much of it as possible. So use your yard, your balcony, your bedroom. If you want to get away from someone or get away from everybody, try to go to a place that maybe you haven't used before. Maybe now is a good time to clean out the attic or the basement to make just a little personal space for yourself. And get creative. We're all working from home right now. it might be a good idea to have a separate work space. I have a desk that I sit at, and my family knows that when I'm at my desk, I'm working on something, I'm focusing on something. And so I have that boundary up that I need to focus on this. It's important to me. So please respect that. When I leave that workspace, when I leave my desk, it kind of helps me change my mindset as well. So I'm leaving work behind, and now I can focus on what's going on in front of me, my family, or a phone call I have to make, or cooking dinner, whatever I need to do. I've kind of left work, and now I'm on my personal time. So that can be a good boundary to set for yourself as well. And like I said, even though we're living with each other and we're seeing each other more, you still need to ask permission for things. If you are borrowing or want to use something of someone else's, you still have to ask. You have to ask for permission. Being more comfortable around each other doesn't mean that those boundaries go away. You should also ask each time. It's not a blanket permission unless they say it's a blanket permission for something. So make sure that you're respecting their time, their property, and their permission just by asking if it's okay if you use it. You also want to understand that even though most people are working from home, or some people aren't working at all, and it might seem like they're more available, you still have to follow the proper boundaries that were in place before this. So calling at all hours of the night, texting over and over again. These are boundaries that were put in place and shouldn't change just because of our current situation. Make sure you're still being respectful of their time, and they might be trying to keep a routine, so be respectful of that as well. Also, texting someone over and over again or calling someone over and over again is not a respectful behavior at any time. If they able to text you back, or if they want to text you back, they will. You have to let them do that. And it can be hard not being able to control that, but that's a boundary that everybody has. My family knows that 10 p.m. is our cutoff. We don't want phone calls. We don't want texts. If there's a phone call that comes in after 10, we know it's an emergency, because those are the only phone calls that should be coming in after 10 p.m. And everybody is aware of that. You have to let people know, or else, nobody's a mind reader. Nobody knows unless you tell them. So most importantly, you have to let somebody know if a boundary is crossed. So this could be as simple as just telling them ahead of time, like, hey, I'm working from home. I'll be working from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Please don't, try to call or try to text, or, anything like that. Try to FaceTime until after my work hours are done. It could be as easy as letting someone know as soon as they cross the boundary. You might not think you have to tell someone about a boundary, but you should, and you might have to do it over and over again. They might not understand the first time. So if, say, someone's coming into your room when the door is closed and you're asking them to knock first, and they're not knocking, they're just keep breaking your boundary, and it's making you uncomfortable, and you've told them over and over again, you should let someone else know. Try to get someone else that can help the situation. It might not be, something that they do on purpose. It might be out of habit, but if it's a boundary that you set, it's important. It's important to you, and it should be important to the other people in your life. So just let them know, no matter how serious you think it is or how little you think the boundary is. Your boundaries are important. So we discussed about living at home with each other, and we're home now. So now what? It's important to maintain these relationships. Now that you just learned how to have healthy communication, let's practice it. And there's different ways that you can do that. So in Ashley's webinar last week, if you attended, you know that the stay-at-home order means no gatherings or parties, but you can leave the house too. pick up food or go grocery shopping. So essentials, no unnecessary shopping trips you should be doing right now. It should only be for the essentials that you need. You can see your doctor. Obviously, if there's an emergency, you can go to the hospital. You can pick up medicine. You can exercise or relax in your yard, take a walk around the block, but maintain social distance. So this means if you're walking down the street and someone's walking towards you, cross the road. You want to try to keep at least 6 feet in between you and the people around you. It's okay for people that you live with, because obviously we live with them, we're going to be in close contact. But people who you do not live with, and this includes family and friends, you should be maintaining at least 6 feet distance between each of you. And then again, before you venture out, ask yourself, is it a necessary trip? Because staying at home helps to stop the spread of the virus and flatten the curve. And that just means we want to keep as many people out of the hospital right now as possible. We don't want to overwhelm that system and the machine at the hospital. So even though we're kind of quote unquote stuck at home, there's still a lot that we can do. Advocate. Of course, we're going to talk about this. All right, we have action alerts that we send out, and we actually sent one out today. These are just time sensitive. Really anything that is time sensitive that we need your help on. We have to act fast, and each action alert will describe exactly what it is, why it's important, and why we need your help in it. So we had previously sent out 2 action alerts. One was hashtag We Are Essential, and it was to tell Congress to include the disability community in COVID-19 relief bills. And you can click here. We have these out. If you didn't get these action alerts, let us know. We can put you on our mailing list for future action alerts. I can also send out these past action alerts if you need them. The second was to fix the glitch with SSI, and you can click there. So basically, action alerts are ways that you can reach out to your government, to your legislature, and tell them that an action is needed, that we need to be included in something, or that a law or a bill that they're signing isn't beneficial for the community. And we might need help speaking in front of the assembly or the senators. We might need you just to call and tell them how you feel. Sometimes we'll include a script that you can use, and you literally just have to call the number we give you and say exactly what's in the email. Sometimes it's a letter that we need you to sign. Sometimes it's a letter we need you to email. Every action alert is very descriptive, tells you exactly what we need to do, what we need you to do, and why. So you can assess and respond appropriately for yourself. If something is going to affect you more, you can, ask us for ways on how you can help even more than what we're suggesting. Or if you read it and you think it's not important, you can reach out to us and help us, ask us to clarify how this will affect you and how it will affect the community in a whole. So we have these 2 right now. These were I think we sent them out a few times, and just the hashtags are a big social media campaign. Just posting the hashtags will get people's awareness up. So even if you don't have access to a printer to mail letters, or for some reason you can't use your phone, there are still other ways you can help. So don't hesitate to reach out to us and ask how else you can help and how else you can respond to these action alerts. You can also participate in our local council meetings. So we have 5 councils around the whole state. They are still active, even though we're not physically meeting up, we are holding conference calls. You can find these numbers also on our website, but if you want to quickly write down your phone number and the access code, All you have to do is dial in at the date and time the meeting was already scheduled. Our meetings are scheduled about for the year, probably by September of the year before, so they're set for the year. Those dates and those times are exactly when we're still holding these meetings. So Council 1, Council 2, Council 3, Council 4, and Council 5. You'll see some of the numbers or the access codes are the same because we all have our own conference call numbers. So I am the advisor for Council 2 and Council 3. Kelly is the advisor for Council 4 and Council 5, and Ashley is the advisor for Council 1. And here are the calendars and the contact info for those advisors and where the meetings are. You can easily find which council you belong to by the map at the bottom right. It's broken down by county, so it all depends on where you live. And you'll see that the dates are scheduled for the year, and the times vary from meeting to meeting, or from council to council rather, but we're going to keep the conference calls at the same time the meeting would be held, just to make it easier on everybody. So all you have to do is call in. It's going to ask you for the access code. You enter the access code, and that is literally it. You can participate. You'll find out what is going on around the state. You'll be able to communicate with other members of the council, which is great for networking and for, just people and hearing and talking to people you might not have seen for a while. Also, ways that you can stay connected. As practicing social distance does not mean you can't talk to anyone. You're not alone, even though you can't go out and physically see people. So these are some popular ways that you can stay connected with people. Top left is WhatsApp. It's a app, communication, so you can communicate with people on all sorts of devices. The bottom left is Zoom. I'm sure you've heard of. It's blown up since the stay-at-home order. It's a video thing, but also a phone app. You can video chat with people, and if someone doesn't have access to a computer, they can call in and they'll hear the audio of what everybody is saying. The middle is FaceTime. So if you're an Apple user and you want to connect with someone else who's an Apple user, you can just this button on and your camera will pop up and you can video chat with someone. There's you can use like filters and funny faces and put everybody. So it's really fun if you're communicating with smaller children or anyone who likes to have fun like that. The top right is Google Hangouts or Google Meet, and it's kind of the same thing as Zoom. It's just run by a different program. It's by Google, and it is free. So again, you can video chat, you can phone conference, you can even just chat. Open up a chat box and you can email or you can just text with somebody. And then the bottom right is Skype, which is kind of the same as Zoom and FaceTime. It's just a program, so you don't need to have a certain device to use it. You can just go online and use it. These are great ways to keep in touch with everybody and stay connected, especially if a lot of these so especially if you're a job coach or a job developer, using these could be super beneficial for your job. You could place phone calls with employers to find out, what's going on at the job. Is there anything that needs to be worked on? Or if you're trying to find employment, just calling somebody. Obviously, making a lot of phone calls instead of going out to locations because we're trying to stay at home more. And then also you can use these video chatting apps to practice interviewing skills with a volunteer or with someone who is looking to get a job seeker. So you can practice interview skills. You can practice first impressions. You can practice interview questions. I know that with the stay-at-home order, and not just in New Jersey, but in a lot of states, if not most of the states, people aren't doing in-person interviews if they're hiring. They don't want someone to come in if they don't have them. So a lot of interviews are being done over the phone or video chat because it's beneficial to see the person, and then you can see what they're wearing and how their appearance is and their mannerisms. So a lot of places are doing interviews by camera. So practicing that with job seekers can be extremely beneficial right now, especially if they're ramping up to get a job. If they're just looking for a job and they haven't had interview experience, I mean, if you have had interview experience, you know how valuable that is. Every interview you do, you learn something a little bit better. You learn how to handle a question better, or how to fix your mannerisms so you're more professional. So each interview just makes your skill stronger. So that is a great way to incorporate that into your job. There are also some programs and websites that are doing a lot more online, where they used to be very hands-on. Everybody used to be very hands-on, right? But now so the Mighty has a Facebook page, there's an app, there's a website, and they do a lot of meetings where you can sit, kind of do an individual activity, but with other people. So something that someone participated in and they really liked was, it was a drawing session. So they went on to this drawing session on in the Facebook group, and they just started coloring and drawing while other people on camera were coloring and drawing. And they said it was nice to be able to do something for them that normally is done alone, but because they're craving more social activities, they were able to see other people and do it with other people, even though they were kind of just doing it themselves. So the Mighty, I know, is doing a lot of stuff like that, a lot of group activities, coloring, writing, talking. And then ACI, the Alliance Center for Independence, is still hosting their support groups, but they're doing it online. They do karaoke, they host online dance parties, and they are also doing drum circles, which is really fun. So again, it's something you can do in your home, but with other people. So I'm pretty sure, the Mighty you can do on a smartphone or on a laptop, and the same with Alliance Center for Independence. I think you need a laptop for that. But also join your Facebook groups. There's a lot of groups that are really kind of bonding over this period. People are focusing more on, online chat and talking with people online because we can't see anybody. So Facebook groups are doing a lot of online meetups and support groups, and there is a Facebook group for everything. So just go into your Facebook app and search, and literally you'll find anything, any topic you have a question on or need help with, or people you just want to talk to. And so that brings me to my next point is, while we're all at home, there are so many ways that you can entertain yourself. And this is kind of like a benefit that's coming out of all of this, because there's so many new videos popping up, so many new channels, so much new content that everybody is putting out, that there shouldn't be any lull in your life. There should always be something that you can watch or listen or read. So one of my new favorite things is John Krasinski from The Office started a YouTube channel called Some Good News. He said he was sick of hearing about all the negativity going on and the fear that's being brought up in the media. So he just wanted a news station that was literally only good news. So he started it himself, and I cried at the first one. I cry at a lot of stuff, but it was so heartwarming, and it just makes you smile. And if you're looking for something to kind of pick you up when we're kind of living in a time where we're all unsure about what's going on, or we might be fearful about what's happening around us, it's nice and refreshing to get a dose of happiness and a dose of good news. And I think we all can use that. So you just go to YouTube and search for Some Good News and his channel will pop up. He also posts it on his Twitter, and I found it on Facebook too. So his videos are going around everywhere. And then a lot of our shows that we would normally watch are being broadcast from home. So Jimmy Fallon is doing the Tonight Show from home. I think Saturday Night Live just did a Saturday Night Live at home. The Late Late Show is being broadcast from home. So people are still trying to find ways to get their content out to you, but free. You don't need cable. And also, they're all practicing social distancing. So everyone's getting a little bit more creative. And then a lot of music artists are holding live concerts from their home on Facebook Live. So this is Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie, and I think it's been, 3 weeks now, he's been doing nightly live concerts from his home where he sings songs from Death Cab for Cutie, he sings songs from a postal service, and he does covers, and you can request. He takes requests. So it's pretty awesome. It's Facebook Live, so you can comment and he'll see them and he'll maybe answer questions. And I went on a bunch of times and people from all over the world are there, and you can just chat in the chat box. It's pretty awesome, but he's not the only one that's doing that. A lot of artists are holding these live concerts. So all you have to do is go on their social media, their Facebook, their Instagram, or their Twitter, and they're probably posting links to their live content. I think it's a good way for people to get out, you know, the frustration they might be feeling, or just a little bit of entertainment, something to take your mind off of the day. But there's a lot of musicians and artists and bands are doing this. So just check them out, your favorite band on Facebook or Twitter, and see if they're posting any content that you can look at as well. And then, of course, we're doing a lot here at the New Jersey Self-Advocacy Project. We are still running our Healthy Lifestyles Project, but we're just doing it, again, a little differently. We have our Meditation Mondays, which is Kelly, who is the advisor for Council 4 and Council 5, posts Monday meditation videos, each with a different story, each with different meditation techniques to help you, de-stress and calm down. And they're so relaxing to watch. And then, of course, we have our trainings on Tuesday, which you already know about because you're here. Don't forget to sign up for next week's webinar series hosted by Kelly on healthy stress management and outdoor safety tips. We have done, this is the third one, but we would like to continue doing this. So if you wouldn't mind, if you could post in the chat box what topics you're interested in. We have topics set up for May, and those links will go out shortly, so you can sign up for those webinars. But if we're missing something on a topic that you wanted to hear about, or if there's a whole new topic you want to hear about, please just post it in the questions box. And then after this webinar is over, we'll also be sending out a survey. So please take that. It's another opportunity for you to tell us what you want to hear about and if we should, alter how we do this at all. We want to make this as, accessible and as easy to understand and available for everybody as we can. Kelly also does Animal Yoga Wednesdays, and what's great about her yoga videos is she makes the positions available for everybody. So if you have limited flexibility, if you're brand new to yoga, if you've been doing yoga, she has a way of doing them where it's all inclusive and it's, again, so relaxing, and yet it's physical. So definitely check those out. And then Frankie and I do Brain Games Thursdays, where every Thursday at 1 p.m. we post a Facebook Live video of playing a game. For the last 3 weeks, we were playing categories, and it was a lot of fun. So we might be doing categories this week, but I don't think we are. But we are doing a fun game, and you should definitely participate. The rules will be given out. It's easy to follow along. So again, that's Thursdays at 1 p.m. on our Facebook Live page, and the link is right there. All you have to do is sign up, like log into the website and participate. It's a lot of fun. And Kelly does Superhero Yoga Fridays. So again, a great way to kind of strengthen yourself. It can be done from home. You can do it at any time. If you're unable to watch it when we post them, they are on our Twitter, our Facebook, our YouTube, and our Instagram, and you can go back and watch it at any time. And then I also post healthy snacking recipes on Friday. We've done healthier recipes for ice cream, popcorn, peanut butter cookies, and dark chocolate covered strawberries. So hop on Fridays and check out the recipes we post. Super easy videos to follow along with. And again, if you have any suggestions, I'm open to suggestions. And then we also post additional content throughout the week. We posted our top picks for our playlist we have on YouTube. We all know we shouldn't be making unnecessary trips to the grocery store. So I post videos on how to make your own things like lip scrub and face mask and a hair mask, because self-pampering is so beneficial to a healthier mind and less stress in your life. And it's also just fun. And who doesn't love to pamper themselves? But since we can't be going out to the store for these items, there's quick videos and recipes on how you can make them in your house. Also, how to make your products last longer and how to have your food last a little longer so you're doing less shopping. And I talked a little bit about our YouTube, but we have several playlists set up on our YouTube. We've uploaded trainings. We have videos from our past events, yoga and meditation videos. So all of Kelly's yoga and meditation videos are there, and you can watch them one after another, or go at your own speed. We have our healthy snacking videos and our dance party playlist. So this is a really fun playlist we all contributed to, and every month there'll be a different theme where you can just play it and dance and just have fun. And everything is available on all of our platforms. So here's our Twitter handle, our Facebook link, our Instagram link, and our YouTube page. And they're all linked to each other, and they're also all available on our website. So if you make it to one, you'll be able to make it to all of them. And of course, we are still training. It's a big part of what we do. We are mostly using these programs. We have Ring Central for conference calls, and we have Google Meets and Zoom for video trainings. So if you have a topic you would like us to do for you or for your group, if you are a teacher and you have a classroom, just let us know. We can schedule a date and a time to do any of these trainings. And if you would like, we can email this flyer out to you as well. All of our contact info is on the bottom there. And again, it is on our website. And these are the resources that we used throughout the webinar. So our homepage, a link to our webinars so you can register, especially for next week, a link to our YouTube, and our HLP program, our Healthy Lifestyles program, and a link to the Mighty and ACI, a link to John Krasinski's Some Good News channel, and the Tonight Show. And that's the specific link for Death Cab for Cutie's Facebook page where Ben Gibbard is holding the concerts, a link for Zoom, and Google Hangouts if you would like to start using those. And here's all of my information if you have any questions or if you want to reach out to us. Again, we are still training. If you want to participate in any of our games or our videos, do not hesitate to reach out to us. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm going to see, I'm going to read through the questions. Mary, it looks like you had a little trouble. If you want, we can send you the link to the webinar afterwards, so that way you can see everything. Let's see. April asked, how can you speak with an individual who is just not receptive? So everybody is receptive in their own ways. It might be difficult to kind of figure out what that is, but my suggestion would be to just keep trying to figure out a way that you can communicate with them. Sometimes it's through a game, sometimes it's just through straightforward black and white conversation, but everybody has some way that they can be receptive to something. Might just be harder to kind of figure out what that is. Oh, someone said that you'll have some good news. Yes, that is really, like, if you are in the mood to just hear some positive feedback, some good news is an amazing way to do that. And Christine, yes, that is me. I am the representative that you worked with at Matheny. We are still doing training, so if anybody wants a training, and I will put my contact info up again, so if anybody wants to reach out to us or has any questions, just let us know. Here's all of our contact information. And again, they are all linked to each other, so you can get to all of them just by going to one. And thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great day.